Rent-A-Cop, but a better title would be Rent-A-Screenwriter. That's because Rent-A-Cop is the very tired, utterly predictable story of a Chicago detective, Burt Reynolds, whose buddies are killed during a drug bust by a gun-blazing armed warrior, somebody Arnold Schwarzenegger would like to fight, I assume. Reynolds' boss suspects that Reynolds might be involved in the crime. That is highly illogical in the story, but an even worse character is Liza Minnelli's, a dopey call girl who just happens to be working the same hotel floor where the drug shootout takes place. Both characters are now in danger as witnesses to the crime, and soon Minnelli is making herself at home in Burt Reynolds' apartment.
I love this movie. Listen, do you have it in color? You can get it in color now, you know. You know, there's this new process they have. It's fabulous. Can't wait to see Casablanca.
Now, why does she have to play someone stupid? Liza Minnelli's a bright actress. She should do better than that. As for Reynolds, he's busy buying time trying to solve the crime. To do so, he has to deal with his old partner, Bernie Casey, and the young cop, the kid cop, Robbie Benson, who's been assigned to tail him.
Tell me you're here staking out one of my neighbors and not me.
It's you, Churchy.
Right.
The whole look of this film is phony, too, as is the threat that Burt Reynolds received from another former cop, now working for the film's bad guy, the rich mobster who has asked this former cop to bump off Burt Reynolds.
Why don't we stop screwing around, huh? You work for Alexander.
The force was the only thing I knew, and the bastards kicked me off for the same thing half the other guys are still doing. I was drowning out there. Alexander threw me a lifeline.
On the phone, you said a matter of life and death. Whose, yours?
Yours.
That's Richard Mazer as the ex-cop, and what a surprise it is, Roger. Weren't you totally surprised when he doesn't kill his buddy? That's because the movie has to go on for at least another 25 minutes with a final shootout and an equally predictable resolution to the Reynolds-Minnelli romance. Roger and I just did a show called Big Stars and Bad Movies in 1987. Let's mark down Rent-A-Cop for the same show in 1988. This was really bad.
I agree with you that this movie is absolutely off the formula line when it comes to the story. In fact, as somebody who sees every movie that comes out, maybe I'm overexposed, but maybe not, because every cliche in this movie, every plot development, every character, the descriptions of the characters, what the characters do, how they relate to each other, is absolutely right off the shelf.
No.
Now, what I did like, I liked the relationship between Burt Reynolds and Liza Minnelli. I thought it was an interesting relationship. I thought it was the best work I'd seen them do in quite a while.
That's not saying much.
Well, in the case of Burt Reynolds, he's come off a string of bad movies. I enjoyed their relationship in this movie. I would have liked to have seen the same relationship in a better plot.
Well, let me tell you, there is one moment, there is one scene where Liza Minnelli says something nice to him about her life and how she's had a tough time. And it's a close-up of Liza Minnelli. She looks good. She has something honest to say. That lasts about 10 seconds. 10 seconds of reality in a film full of, just formula writing.
I'm not sure I wanted reality in this film. It's not supposed to be a realistic film.
I mean real emotion.
Well,
and that's the only thing that I'll grant you. Well, but otherwise, this is really worthless.
Grant me a little more than 10 seconds. I'd like a little more than 10 seconds granted. But in any event, I agree with you that the screenplay could have been
written by 1,000 monkeys, 1,000 dumb monkeys.
It wouldn't have taken 1,000 monkeys, and they wouldn't have had to be that smart, though. You're right.
Downturned thumbs for the brainless cop romance Rent-A-Cop, starring Liza Minnelli and Burt Reynolds.